Hello, BookTube. Well, the week has started a day late, but the mail has started up right with it. So I've got a little mail haul I want to go through here, starting with this thing, which is wafer thin. I don't know what could be in here that's so small. It's too small even to be a catalog, so I don't really know what this will be. Okay. Okay. Uh, this is a Penguin Classic. it's Hesiod. It's Works and Days. It's the new translation by A.E. Stallings. Fantastic. Okay. Fantastic. It's not a long work. This has half of this is the introduction. Oh, that is incredible. All right. That is a home run right out of the gate. That's fantastic. Okay. I feel so sorry for the rest of the books in this mail haul because what are they supposed to do? I just got a Penguin Classic of Hesiod. What are the rest of these supposed to do? But we'll try not to despise them. This comes out in May. This one is from Yale. It is by David Scott Caston, and it is called On Color. Let's see, there we go. Ranging from Homer to Picasso, and from the Iranian Revolution to the Wizard of Oz, this spirited and radiant book awakens us anew to the role of color in our lives. Okay, and he's a professor of English at Yale. All right, so that is the first of our books that is not the Penguin Classic Hesiod. So I probably shouldn't characterize them that way. That's not very fair. Let's see. What is this next one? Okay, this is from Grove Atlantic. This comes out in July. I didn't request this. This is The King's Witch by Tracy Borman. It's a big historical novel. In her role as joint chief curator of historic royal palaces. That rings a bell. Tracy Borman. Oh, okay. She's written 6 previous books, including one on Thomas Cromwell and one on Elizabeth's women. I feel certain, I don't know if it's one of those 2 books, but I feel certain that I have reviewed one of her books. I will find out, and I will leave, if I'm right, I'll leave a link down below. In case, I never know if you're interested in reading the links that I leave to any of the stuff that I've written before. I've written reviews on almost everything that's ever happened, so I often forget to do that. But I remember that title, Chief Curator of Historical Royal Places, of Palaces, sorry. Tracy Borman oversees 7 castles and palaces around England. Borman's familiarity with and access to their archives underpinned her biography of Thomas Cromwell and the history of the Private Lives of the Tudors. There you go. Private Lives of the Tudors is the book that I reviewed. With the intimate particulars of everyday life which helped the past come bracingly, stirringly alive. That's a quote from the New York Times book review of The Private Lives of the Tudors. Now Borman brings the same research and storytelling to bear on her debut work of fiction. Boy, every Tudor historian writes fiction. I wonder, are they urged to do that by their publisher? Is there money in it? Or do they all want to do it and maybe know each other? I never know that. But they all do it. They all do it. And I'm not criticizing. The fiction is often quite good. It's just, what a weird thing. I don't think it happens in any other branch of history, that the historians also write novels. Anyway, it'd be nice if I could stop interrupting this single sentence. This is the first in a trilogy of historical novels set at the dramatic endpoint of the Tudor reign as it gives way to the dangerous start of the Stuart era. In March of 1603, as she helps nurse the dying Queen Elizabeth of England, Francis Gorges, probably not gorgeous, probably George, it's Gorges, dreams of her parents' country estate, where she has learned to use flowers and herbs to become a much-loved healer. She is happy to stay at home when King James of Scotland succeeds to the throne. His court may be shockingly decadent, but his intolerant Puritanism sees witchcraft in many of the old customs punishable by death. Yet when her ambitious uncle forcibly brings Frances to the royal palace, having bought her a position as the lady of the bedchamber of the young Princess Elizabeth, she becomes a ready target for the twisted schemes of the Privy Seal, Lord Cecil. As the dark campaign to destroy both king and parliament gathers pace, culminating in the gunpowder plot, Frances is surrounded by danger, finding happiness only with the king's precocious young daughter and with Tom Wintour, the one courtier she feels she can trust. But Wintour has a secret that, when revealed, places Frances in conflict with her royal charge and in fear for her own family. Huh. Okay, so it's mainly a Stuart historical novel, due out in July. How interesting. Okay, so Tracy Borman is now writing fiction as well as history. I'll report back on what it's like this summer. We'll see. I wonder what kind of a splash it'll make. Anyway, let's see what this... Oh, good. Okay. Good. I requested this. This is by the great Charles Johnson. This is his new collection of short stories, Nighthawks. He did Middle Passage, which, was extremely popular and talked about. And this is just a masterful story collection. 13 years in the making. Wow. Okay. All right. So short stories by Charles Johnson. Then, let's see here. This is next one. What a book-saturated channel this is. There's books everywhere. They're coming out my ears. I guess this is BookTube, right? So, okay. All right. This is a novel. Very pretty thing. This is The Great Believers by Rebecca Mackay. Let's see here. A dazzling novel of friendship and redemption in the face of tragedy and set in 1980s Chicago and in contemporary Paris. In 1985, Yale Tishman, a development director for the Art Gallery in Chicago, is about to pull off an amazing coup, bringing an extraordinary collection of 1920s paintings as a gift to the gallery. Yet as his career begins to flourish, the carnage of the AIDS epidemic grows around him. One by one, his friends are dying. And after his friend Nico's funeral, he finds out his partner is infected and that he might have the virus himself. The only person he has left is Fiona, Nico's little sister. 30 years later, Fiona is in Paris tracking down her estranged daughter. While staying with an old friend, the famous photographer who once documented the Chicago epidemic, she finds herself finally grappling with the devastating way the AIDS crisis affected her life and her relationship with her daughter. Yale's and Fiona's stories unfold in incredible, moving, and sometimes surprising ways, as both struggle to find goodness in the face of disaster. Wow. The Great Believers. So this is an AIDS novel. Wow. Okay. All right. I didn't know that. All right. Good. And did I mention when this comes out? This comes out in June. These are all summer books. And then this is the last one, and we'll wrap this up because I think that last video was hideously long. What have we got here? Oh my. What is this? Okay, this comes out in July. Okay. This is by Taylor Anderson, and it is called River of Bones. You can see a mysterious-looking ship that looks kind of recognizable, and you can't really make it out in this lighting, but there's a gigantic crocodile right down there. It's attracted Steve's eye right away. What is this? Taylor Anderson continues his thrilling New York Times best-selling alternate history series. Oh, no. Are there many? Oh my God! Okay, it's the Destroyer Men series. That's the name of the series. And there have been a million of them. Oh my God. Like 15 before this one. Okay, well, as I've said on this channel many times, I'm not going to go scurrying for those earlier books. Instead, I'm going to trust that the author knows what he's doing. I'm going to trust that the author wants every reader to be able to make this the first book. But let's see what we have here. It continues this series as the crew of a World War II destroyer in a strange new world faces their greatest challenge yet. When the USS Walker and her captain, Matt Reddy, were mysteriously transported from the Pacific to another world, they became involved in a never-ending conflict between their Lemurian allies and the vicious Grik, G-R-I-K. They may have destroyed a maniacal general and captured a mighty battleship, but victory came at a terrible cost. Probably the captain. Virtually the entire Allied fleet in the West has been sunk or severely damaged, and the Allies' most elite strike force has been badly mauled. Now the final swarm, that's in capital letters, final swarm, an unprecedented horde of ravening Grick, is coming to slaughter the weakened Allies. Okay. So, no, Matt Ready is alive and well. The captain's alive and well. It's the slaughter of the Allies that was the terrific cost. Okay, so this comes out in July. This is a huge series of books in which a destroyer is transported to an alien world. If that sounds familiar to you, it's because it is. It is. There's Forster's book, The Lost Regiment, in which a Civil War regiment undergoes a similar type of thing. They're dislocated to an alternate reality. And there's also Harry Turtledove, who did the Videssos novels, in which a Roman legion is displaced into a fantasy world that's kind of sort of like their own. These books make for some very good reading. This is a series I do not know at all. Wow, and it's huge. I wonder if the Boston Public Library has any of these. Okay. Well, I can either read this and see, I can start it and see if I think I'm going to need that. Although, it's not even a question of need. I mean, of course, I shouldn't need it. And if I start this book and I feel like I'm coming to a party late and all the jokes are in-jokes, well, I can rightly castigate the author for that. That's a weakness of this book. But I got to confess, after that plot description, I kind of want to read the others, at least the first one. But anyway, so there we go. That's fascinating. Destroyer Man is the name of the series. This is River of Bones by Taylor Anderson. Then The Great Believers. I don't know about the vibe I'm getting off this. It's impressive. I don't know. Whatever I thought this was, I didn't think it was an AIDS novel. And I don't know what an AIDS novel would be like in 2018. I'm fascinated by it. I will report back. Then The King's Witch, in which Tracy Borman, a Tudor historian, tries her hand at writing fiction. Then Nighthawks, a new collection of short stories by Charles Johnson. On Color, the role of color in our lives in literature. And a new Penguin Classic translation of The Works and Days of Hesiod. So there you go. That's a nice, discreet mail haul with a lot of interesting stuff in it. So I'm going to go now and examine all of that stuff. But I will come back and I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.